I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna move on from this.
His whole family is.
We are here to announce that this morning we filed an indictment in relation to the murder of Sam Nordquist.
Of this indictment is count one. Count one charges each and every one of these 7 defendants with murder in the first degree. This is New York's most significant and serious charge.
Welcome to Dark Room Diaries, the place where shadows speak and untold stories finally find their voice. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, because tonight, we are diving into one of the most disturbing murder cases of 2025. A story filled with betrayal, cruelty, and unimaginable horror. This is not just another true crime case. This is the story of Sam Nordquist. Asterisk, in early February 2025, New York was shaken to its core. The body of a young 24-year-old transgender man, Sam Nordquist, was discovered in a lonely field. But what shocked investigators and the public even more was not just the murder itself, but what Sam endured before his death. 4 weeks, almost 2 months, he was trapped, beaten, humiliated, denied water, drugged, and tortured in ways that most people cannot even imagine.
Today we filed an indictment charging the 7 defendants that were previously charged in this case: Precious Arzuaga, Jennifer Quiano, also known as Brooklyn, Kyle Sage, Patrick Goodwin, Emily Motika, Thomas Eves, and Kimberly Sosha.
At least 5 people were involved in this gruesome crime. People Sam once trusted, people he believed were his friends. This case has been described as one of the darkest, most disturbing crimes in recent New York history. And tonight, we will take you through the full story, step by step. Asterisk. Asterisk, imagine being locked inside a small room. No light, no air. Every single day, someone comes in only to hurt you. They laugh while you cry. They starve you, they burn your skin with chemicals, they strip you of your dignity. You bang on the walls, you scream for help, but nobody hears you. Days turn into weeks. And then, one cold February morning, your broken body is dumped like trash in a field, forgotten by the world. Sam Nordquist was just 24 years old. He was a transgender man, and those close to him describe him as someone full of life. Despite facing bullying, discrimination, and the struggles of being accepted in society, Sam never gave up on himself. He was proud of who he was, and he wanted to live freely, without hiding his identity. Friends recall that Sam had a kind smile. He was the type of person who would show up when you needed help, who would listen without judgment. He often attended LGBTQ+ events in New York, surrounded himself with people who celebrated diversity, and dreamed of a better future for himself.
The community's bad. It's just those individuals who are sick and decided they wanted to hurt Sam. I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna move on from this.
But Sam also carried silent battles. He had family struggles, personal insecurities, and a deep desire to belong. Like many, he wanted a circle of friends he could trust. By late 2024, Sam had started spending time with a group of new acquaintances. To him, they seemed fun, exciting, and welcoming. To Sam, this group felt like the safe space he had always longed for. It all began in late December 2024. Sam suddenly vanished. At first, his family thought he might be busy, maybe visiting someone, or simply taking time off. Friends thought he needed space. But as days turned into weeks and the new year rolled in, fear started growing. Sam wasn't answering calls. He wasn't posting online. He was simply gone. What Sam didn't know was that behind their smiles, those very people would turn into monsters. By early January, Sam's loved ones filed a missing person report. Police opened an investigation, but initially, they suspected it was just another runaway case. Young adults sometimes disappear for personal reasons, but this wasn't that simple. In reality, Sam was already trapped. He had been lured and confined by the very people he thought were his friends. Names that would later make headlines: Precious Arzuaga, Kyle Sage, Jennifer Quiano, and others. Together, they formed a small group, one that would go on to commit unspeakable acts of cruelty. Inside a dingy apartment, Sam was held captive. He was beaten repeatedly. He was denied water for days at a time. His captors forced drugs and chemicals into his body, leaving him in constant pain and confusion. They humiliated him, degraded him, stripped away his humanity piece by piece. And worst of all, They recorded some of it. They laughed at his suffering. For them, this was not just violence, it was entertainment. Outside, the world went on. People celebrated New Year's Eve. The city lights of New York shined bright. But inside that room, Sam's cries went unheard. For more than a month, he endured the unimaginable. Until finally, his body gave up. Every single day was a cycle of abuse. He was beaten with fists, belts, even random household objects. At times, his captors starved him for days. When he begged for water, they gave him only a few drops, mocking his thirst. At other times, they forced strange chemicals into his system. Substances that burned his throat, poisoned his stomach, and left him hallucinating in agony. Witnesses would later reveal that Sam was also sexually assaulted during his captivity. His abusers didn't just want to hurt his body, they wanted to break his spirit. They wanted to strip him of every ounce of dignity, reducing him to nothing but a helpless victim. And yet, Sam fought to survive. Friends later recalled that Sam was strong, resilient. Even when he was weak, bruised, and disoriented, he tried to resist. He tried to hold on, hoping that someone would eventually find him. But in that hidden apartment, nobody came. Days turned into weeks. And by early February, his body could no longer endure the pain. Asterisk. There, half buried in the dirt, was the lifeless body of a young man. His clothes torn, his skin covered in bruises and burns. His face almost unrecognizable. The farmer immediately called 911. Asterisk. It was the morning of February 2nd, 2025, in a quiet field outside New York, a farmer began his day. But as he walked across the cold winter ground, something unusual caught his eye. At first, it looked like trash, something dumped carelessly in the middle of the field. But as he moved closer, his heart froze. Within minutes, police swarmed the area. Officers taped off the field, forensic teams gathered evidence, and the grim realization set in. This was no ordinary death. This was the result of something far more sinister. Later that day, dental records confirmed what many feared. The body belonged to 24-year-old Sam Nordquist, the same young man who had been reported missing weeks earlier. Asterisk. From the very beginning, investigators knew this wasn't just a random killing. The signs of prolonged torture were obvious. This was systematic, organized, and deeply cruel. News spread like wildfire. Within hours, headlines across New York screamed, "Transgender man found dead after weeks of torture." The city was horrified. The nation demanded answers. Asterisk. Detectives began piecing together Sam's last known movements. They checked his phone records, interviewed his friends, and slowly uncovered a disturbing truth. Sam's so-called friends were the ones who betrayed him. Names like Precious Arzuaga, Kyle Sage, and Jennifer Quijano surfaced. Each of them had been in contact with Sam before his disappearance. Witnesses confirmed they had lured him, manipulated him, and eventually confined him. When police raided their apartments, the evidence was undeniable: bloodstains, chemical bottles, and even chilling video recordings of Sam's suffering. The suspects had filmed parts of their cruelty, almost like trophies of their crimes. By mid-February, the arrests were made. At least 5 people were charged, each facing accusations of murder, kidnapping, assault, and sexual abuse. The press called them a sadistic cult of friends. For the LGBTQ+ community, it was a chilling reminder of how hatred and cruelty still exist in the shadows. Asterisk. Asterisk. In the months that followed, the case entered the courtroom. Prosecutors painted a haunting picture: a young man trapped for weeks, tortured physically and psychologically, before being dumped like garbage. They showed evidence of beatings, chemical burns, and forced starvation. They revealed messages between the suspects, mocking Sam, planning his suffering, treating his life as if it meant nothing. Defense attorneys tried to shift blame, some claiming mental illness, others insisting they were pressured by their peers. But the evidence was overwhelming. Family members sat in the courtroom, listening to every horrifying detail. At times, they broke down in tears. For them, Sam was not just a victim in the headlines. He was a son, a friend, a human being who deserved love and protection. The LGBTQ+ community stood outside the courthouse, holding signs, chanting Sam's name, demanding justice. They wanted the world to remember him not for how he died, but for who he was. Asterisk. Asterisk, by the end of 2025, the suspects were facing life sentences. The judge described their actions as pure evil, a calculated act of cruelty beyond comprehension, but justice in the courtroom could never erase the trauma. Sam's story became a symbol of the dangers faced by transgender individuals, of the hidden cruelty that sometimes lurks behind friendly faces, and of the urgent need for protection and awareness. Friends of Sam organized vigils. They lit candles, shared stories, and celebrated his life. They wanted the world to see Sam not as a victim of torture, but as a person who lived with courage, who smiled despite the pain, and who deserved so much more than what he received. For the viewers watching today, this story is not just about horror, it's about remembrance. It's about asking ourselves, how can we, as a society, prevent such tragedies? How can we create a world where no one suffers like Sam did? Sam's voice may have been silenced, but his story continues to echo. And tonight, through this video, we remember him. Asterisk. Asterisk, thank you for watching Hidden Frame. If this story moved you, share it, because stories like Sam's deserve to be told, deserve to be remembered. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, because we will continue to uncover the darkest, most gripping true crime cases from around the world. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and remember, every dark room diaries tells a story. Asterisk.